Okay, I think we've waited too long because now nobody's here. Are you done?
I still see one.
I know, they just came back in. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Hello. Welcome, everyone, to Rainbow Souls live events. This is our live question and answer. This is where you can post your chart, your ask questions about your chart. You can, you kind of get a free little astrology reading in a way. Bright Hawk and I will take a look at your chart. So you can also ask about the upcoming forecast. So each week, while we're waiting for you to comment your chart or your questions about your chart, we'll be talking about this week. And let's just say this week is packed full solid with, oh my gosh, strap in, my friends. Mercury retrograde is on. And it is in Scorpio. If you already have Scorpio placements, you've already felt this because Mercury and Mars have been the ruling planet of Scorpio, have been running through Scorpio towards Sagittarius. Sagittarius is probably feeling this too. And what's going to happen is on Sunday, Mercury is going to go retrograde. Mars will keep going through Sagittarius, and Mercury will come back and go back into up to 20 degrees Scorpio. So if you have anything around 18, 19, 20 degrees Scorpio, all the way through about 6 degrees or so Sagittarius, it will be extra intense for you, as well as anyone that has those same degrees. So that's like 18, 19, 20 degrees Taurus, all the way up to about 6, 7, 8 degrees Gemini. Okay, so if you have anything in those, you're going to feel this. If you have Virgo, you're going to feel this. If you have Gemini, yeah. Okay, so that doesn't just mean your sun sign. This means your rising sign. This means your moon. This means, oh my gosh, Hollis, I have Mercury there. Okay, so those kinds of things, those are all things that are going to get triggered, especially anything in those signs, or if you have any other placements in those signs I mentioned. So for a lot of us and for everyone else, they're just going to watch. And that's not always easy either. We've all had to do that. So Mercury retrograde is what's happening. It's going to push us through major transformations, major changes. So I'm hoping that you take this minute to tune in with us, ask questions about your chart. Let us know if you got to watch this week's broadcast already. I posted it last night on YouTube and Substack. So I'm not sure. We are trying to move away. If you're a regular subscriber and you get us on Spotify, I want to say that we are going to try to move away from Spotify. There's a current boycott because of some commercials they're running that are pretty inappropriate. So I'm not comfortable with it. So we're gonna move away from there. So if you're into that boycott, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that, actually. Okay. So you can get us though on YouTube, on Substack, on Apple Podcasts. We are on all of those places. Okay. There's the YouTube link for this week's broadcast, and that's just kind of the overall broadcast about Mercury retrograde, how to manage it, what to do. If things are intense for you right now, I'm not surprised. Let me just say that. I'm not surprised at all. I think that's happening for everybody right now. So Mercury retrograde is really, it's amping up. It really kicks in on Sunday. Okay. But it's already starting now. You're already sensing it now. So Like I said, put your questions or your charts in the comments so we can take a look. I am also looking over in the group Mystical Connections. And here we are. So Braidhawk, did you want to say anything about this week's?
Well, we certainly have a really intense week. We have multiple planets changing signs. So today, Mercury and Mars, of course, are still moving together, but on I'm looking at a week ahead because I actually worked a week ahead. Okay, so oh, so one of the things I wanted to highlight was the fact that when we have void of course moons, that's their name. The void is that moment where the moon switches signs, which is about every 2.5 days. And if you're a Cancer ruled sign or you have Cancer rising, you are ruled by the moon. So you really should know what the moon is doing. And one of the things that we've been exploring in our conversations with everyone is the fact that when the moon is void, the emotional energy, the dramatic energy, the high anxiety, all that stuff tends to chill out, which can help you focus, actually, can make it easier to think clearly and get stuff done versus the times where you feel like everything's on high and I have a million things to do and I don't know what to do next. Voids are like the opposite of that. It should be a pretty mellow energy. We like to talk about it as a good time for self-care. And this week, we have voids that last the entire day, all day Tuesday from 11:20 a.m. to 4:20 p.m. Mountain Time for Boulder, Colorado, and on Thursday all day from 8:25 to 3:20 p.m. Mountain Time. What does that mean? That means that when the void is happening, it tends to be calmer energy, which is good because Tuesday is a void moon. Wednesday is the full moon, and we all know what that is. Full moons tend to bring a lot of energy, and this full moon is in Taurus. The moon likes being in Taurus, which means it's having a conversation with Venus, the ruler of Taurus. And the aspects on Wednesday are interesting, shall we say. There's multiple conversations going on, and then on the weekend, Friday, and then really on Sunday. Sunday is and the beginning of the week, and almost all of last week, and at the very end of the week on Sunday, we have a grand trine in water. What does that mean? Well, a grand trine means that all the water signs are represented. So in this case, Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer. And what it means is that energy comes together really quickly. And usually in a trine, it can be very blessed. It can feel like, oh, isn't that great? But it can also just mean that energy comes together really quickly, and I have to say in this case on Sunday, intensely, because it's got the sun, the north node, and Jupiter and the moon conjunct. So a lot of emotional energy on Sunday. And of course, what we're also looking at on Sunday is that Uranus has now finally stepped back into Taurus and the Mercury retrograde begins. All of this happens on Sunday. So if you feel like it's an intense week, you are correct. Some people may not have it as intense as others. Hollis already mentioned the signs that are definitely impacted. Mercury ruled signs, which includes Gemini and Virgo, Scorpio and Sag, because that's where it's operating through. We are going to feel it the most. And of course, between Hollis and I, we have all of those things. And I'm realizing for me that this is actually like a return home for my chart because I was born with Mercury in Sagittarius retrograde. And this Mercury will go back and forth over my Neptune, which is, I think, 3 degrees, 2 degrees Sag. So again, anything between like 18, 20 degrees Scorpio up to like 6 degrees Sag, that's the amplification point. That's like, yeah, you're going to feel it. Everyone's going to feel it. And we all feel it the most at the very beginning and the very end. So it's a big week. And the best thing that I think you can do is make sure you listen to the horoscopes, the reels that we put up last night that Hollis did a great job. Wow. And the tarot is really like mirrors it with its intensity. The tarot reading at the very end is like, holy moly. You just can't make this stuff up. So I hope you'll take advantage of listening to those, and I hope you'll take advantage of having a conversation with us where we're more than happy to share our expertise, if you will, really Hollis's expertise more than anything, about what's going on and what it means for you, because that's what makes astrology really interesting. We're all having our own experience. Everyone's chart's different. It's absolutely your blueprint for life. So it's really good to get readings. Highly recommend Hollis, of course, because they're brilliant and intuitive and learned and just all of it brought together in a way that I've just seen people over and over and over go, myself included. And it really helps you know what to lean into and what to make peace with. And of course, how to love yourself for exactly who you are. That's the goal, right? We're all here to make sure we know who we are, that we love ourselves and love everybody else. But if you can't love yourself, it's hard to love others, right? So astrology, I think, really helps us make peace with these are the beautiful things you came into this world to experience. And a reading can really help you stop shadow boxing, and in a lot of cases we all can understand the self-sabotage piece. Others, right? So astrology, I think, really 12th house in my case has a lot of planets, and we all have to be very careful about self-sabotage. It's the hidden things, the things you can't see, you don't know. And so again, I just would say, if you're curious about your 12th house, or you're curious about why do I always get up to a certain point and then I do something to screw it up, astrology can really help you understand it. And I just can't recommend Hollis enough. They're very, very good at what they do. So
Thanks.
Yeah. So that's my little wrap. You want to say some stuff?
Hi, Angela. Hey, Angie. It's good to see you. Angie and Samantha, we're so glad you're here. Make sure you ask any questions about your chart. You're welcome to post your chart. If I have your chart on hand, you can ask me to look at it. And what I would say about astrology is that, knowing what's coming is not meant to make you worry or get concerned. Actually, it's meant to help you prepare, Like, I think it's kind of helpful to strap in and know that the next week or so is probably about 10 days or so from today is probably going to be kind of intense, and we're going into a Mercury retrograde. So be prepared for a shift in energies and, maybe to be thrown around a little bit. And that's going to affect, more, some of us more so than others. Okay. So, and that depends on your chart. And Scorpio is a very intense sign. And with Mercury retrograde there, that can be, whew, okay. It can create a lot of emotional change, emotional shifting. You probably feel like literally it's like you're riding along and someone is shifting gears and you got whiplash almost. Things are probably happening. Maybe you feel heavy. Maybe you feel like emotionally weighed down. All of these kinds of things are what's happening in this Mercury retrograde. It really depends on how it is in your, I think in your experience in your body. And it also depends, like parts of it, like where are things in your chart, because Uranus is headed back. It's leaving Gemini and going back into Taurus, all the while that we're having a Mercury retrograde in the opposite signs. So the Mercury retrograde is actually going to be completely opposite that. And when that happens, that can create some tension that could be difficult and challenging for you, not just for our world, but for you as well. And so, when you watch the broadcast, I give some tips on how to manage through that. I'm real clear about it. I have not gotten the reels out yet. It takes me quite a bit of time, and Brighthawk and I are still trying to catch up. We're trying to get ahead of ourselves, and it just hasn't happened yet. We have a lot on our plates too, because guess who else is going through that Scorpio retrograde? Okay, and I'm a Virgo and she's a Virgo rising, so we're already in for the ride. And then I'm a Scorpio rising, so I'm double in for the ride. Okay. So so I totally get it. And you know what? Conveniently, now this Mercury retrograde will be for the entire month of November, pretty much. Like Mercury doesn't go direct until the 29th. It goes retrograde on Sunday. It will be retrograde for that whole time, but most of the time we feel it when it goes in and out. And if there are any major aspects, we'll feel tension when there's a opposition the most. Okay, that comes in your chart too, in your birth chart. An opposition is usually a line it's usually red and it goes from one side of the circle to the other. That means those two planets in your chart are literally pulling away from each other. They're going in opposite directions, creating a formation of tension. And this will tell you a story about the expressions of that chart. Okay. So this is how you read your chart. I'm giving you direction on how to read that. So how you read aspects is, okay, so that planet means whatever in that chart. Okay. And so for this instance, we have Mercury going retrograde in, I think when it does it, it's actually in Sagittarius, and then Uranus is in Gemini at that time, and Uranus is retrograde as well. This is going to make us review about our life path. Which way did we want to go? What did we want to do? And that's really what's going to happen there. That's what's about to happen. So, that's really what, like, that's what an opposition is. It makes us pull with the Mercury retrograde, maybe not leading us in the direction we want, or feeling like there's some sort of obstacle up against our life path. And because it's retrograde, it's always about review. It's about reviewing our ideas, or reviewing some sort of belief system, or anything like that. Okay, so that's pretty much what a Mercury retrograde is. Okay. Welcome back, Bright Hawk. And so sometimes that opposition like that, if it's in your chart, you just have to interpret the two planets, okay, whatever they are and whatever they're doing, and what two signs they're in. And if it's got a red line going it has to be perfectly across. If it's just slightly off one house, that's called inconjunct. So it's almost impossible. But with the opposition one, sometimes we say it's almost impossible, or it's impossible. I don't like to use that word, but sometimes I do. I don't mean to. What it actually means is that you'll have to find a balance. So I always look at the middle signs for a hint about what that balance might be. Okay. So if you're looking at your astrology chart and it's opposite, there's a red line that goes from one side to the other, and you're wondering what that means, or how to get a better hold of that, then you want to get to the middle part. Now, a lot of times when it's in your natal chart, we'll move from one side to the other. We'll jump back and forth. So sometimes you're A and sometimes you're B. Okay. So whatever the two planets are, it means that you'll kind of jump between those two spots or you'll express it as, I have a couple of oppositions, as internal conflict, personal internal conflict. I definitely have it. I have numerous planets in conflict, um, including my Uranus on my horizon, makes it very, it's opposite, and it can make me, yeah. It just makes me have, personal dilemmas a lot, okay? Mostly out of integrity or something like that, okay? S so I'm always trying to find a balance, right? I'm always looking for a balance to that. So, I'm asking you, what's in your chart? So, this month in Mystics Academy, we're going to be doing a lot of shadow work. This Mercury retrograde is a perfect time to take a look at your shadow. It's a good time to review who you are and consider what that is. Um, so, um, you know, it's a powerful time right now, and plus we're in between Samhain and Yule. Okay. So that will be at Mystics Academy. If you're unaware of Mystics Academy, I'm happy to present that link for you in just a bit. Now, Mystics Academy is my group on Patreon where you can study with me not only astrology but lots of other things. I will be including a video this month about shadow work and astrology and how to find what your shadow work is, or how to do your shadow work, or what your shadow might be, um, how to find some of those points in your chart. I will be doing that this month in the video. Plus, I'll be doing a practice group and a meditation group that are live in Zoom one-on-one with me. Well, not one-on-one, it's you with a couple other people in the community and me. So it's like a group event in Zoom, and we'll be working doing practice readings together. We'll also be at the readings party. We will also be doing Mama Cole will probably do crystals and tarot, and I will likely do astrology and and maybe mediumship or something. Okay. So we'll all be doing it. The whole month's theme is all going to be about shadow work. It's perfect timing for us to do this because of the astrology, because of the time of year. Okay. So it's all perfect time, especially Mercury retrograde in in Scorpio. Talk about time to do shadow work. That's it. All right. Now, let's see. Samantha said in the broadcast you mentioned in your progress chart you can grow out of things. That's right. Usually it's an option, Samantha. I'm not sure what software you're using, but I use Astro Gold, and it's just a type of subsidiary chart is what they sometimes call it. Um I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure they have it in astro.com. Uh, so you probably just want to maybe look in the help section, or Google it maybe. How do I get my progress chart in this? You could always ask me for it. Usually the things that change in a progress chart are your personal planets. So that's going to be your sun, the moon, your rising, Venus, Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter. Okay, so those are the things. The bigger planets won't really change so much. Maybe one might go direct on you or something like that when you're, in your 40s or something. But for the most part, and I do think those affect you. Not everybody bothers to look at them, but I do. Um, and because I've seen some people that are much, much older that have had a planet such as Jupiter or something bigger, even like Saturn, go direct later on in their life, and it does seem to they've gone through a major change during that time. So like what ends up happening is you can look and see where the moon has progressed to, and it actually, I think it's in each zodiac every 2 years of your life. So the moon actually in your progress chart will change every couple of years. I'm pretty sure it is. And then, so that's really, really important. That's probably the strongest shift or transition that you'll feel. But I also notice that like I was born with Venus retrograde, and then my Venus went direct somewhere after my Saturn returns, and now my Venus in my progress chart is direct, and I have way better self-esteem. I have way better control of my emotions, and I'm way better at managing relationships and even money. So I would say that like big changes, right? And did it have to do with my Venus going direct? I think that's a reflection, a way to see how a person has changed. So if you're looking at something in your chart, let's just say you have Jupiter retrograde or Venus retrograde like I did, don't feel like you're like doomed forever, because none of us are the same person we were when we were born, right? So this is where you can look at your chart and go, oh, it's now direct. I see. Jupiter has now gone direct now that I'm 32 or something like that, and then you could realize that, oh, you're so much better now at being open to new belief systems or new ways of doing something. It just depends on where Jupiter is. But that's an example, okay? And Mars and Venus are the same way. Maybe you learn to manage your temper better, or not internalize things, or to be in relationship in a better way. All of those kinds of things will shift in your progressed chart, okay? And most people make major progress as they age, okay? Most people become wiser. And I think most of us know that, right? Like we know that older people tend to be wiser about things. Not always, but for sure often. Like I hesitate to say that because there are some people that are certainly like boomers and stuff that I'm like, really? Um yeah, so some people and I always want to remind you that if you meet someone that, let's just say, is a Gemini and they lie to you, it doesn't mean that all Geminis are going to lie to you. Most of the time, when someone acts in shadow, when they're being shadowy, or when they're being mean, when they're being inappropriate, when they hurt you, when they any of those things, when that happens, that is often because of trauma. It's actually not their chart. Sometimes we express our trauma through our chart, and then it might show up as the shadow side of that zodiac sign, or it will completely hide a part of you that would normally express. Okay. So that's usually the two ways I can tell that it's trauma, a behavior or some sort of trait that you're struggling with. If you're not sure about it, it's probably because it's either hiding some part of you that is important, it's or it's like, it's coming through there in a shadowy sort of way. Okay? Um Of course, I want to use Donald Trump as an example. I just can't help it. He's so easy. Okay, so he has Mars and Leo. Does it mean every Mars and Leo is going to be aggressive and arrogant? Probably not, actually. Some people might be more action oriented, particularly if they're invested in it some way, but his is on the rising. Okay, so but he leads with that. That's where your rising is. It's how you lead, how you come forward, what people meet first. And most people, when they meet him, think that he's kind of an arrogant, aggressive person. And if we had to pick two words, those would definitely be it. Okay. And then if you get to know him a little bit more, you see him as a liar. And those are all shadow pieces of his placements. Is every single Mars and Leo on their ascendant aggressive and mean? No, no. But because he expresses his trauma through his chart, we see him mostly in shadow. Okay. And so if you have someone in your life that is expressing in shadow and you're like, oh, all Sagittariuses are like that, that's not true, because they might be able to express in the light of this sign, which is probably not going to be what you're seeing. Okay, so remember, all the zodiacs have sort of a shadow and a light, and sometimes with trauma will either shine through, will either express through the shadow, or we completely will shut that area down and not express it at all and cover it up with defensive type of behaviors that keep us safe, probably because of some sort of experience when we were young. So, this Mercury retrograde is all about shadow work. It's all about looking at yourself. It's all about transforming and changing. And that's really what we're doing here. You know, that's really what this is about. If you want to post your chart or ask any questions, please do. Please put them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. I think today was mostly a void moon, huh? Right, Bright Hawk? I think. Oh no, not today. No, it's tomorrow. Yeah, my yeah, I made a mistake. But I thought it was today, but it's not. It's actually tomorrow. So void moons can kind of make you feel a little bit weighed down sometimes, or whatever. And the best thing to do is to try to find ways to take care of yourself or whatever works for you. Okay. So
I just want to remind you, it's a void moon Tuesday, a full moon Wednesday, think full moon, and then a void moon Thursday. And then all the stuff I talked about already on Sunday.
Right.
Uranus moving back into Taurus, out of Gemini, Mercury starting its actual strut backwards. It's pretty stationary right now, most this week, 5-6 degrees.
Right.
And then, you know, we're trying to balance it all, and hopefully you guys find value in what we've been putting out there. And it's great to hear your questions. I did verify, Samantha, that you can you can get a free progress chart at astro.com under their extended charts area. It's a free service. They're really great. Astro.com has, oh my goodness, like every choice you can possibly imagine and a whole bunch you never heard of. So if you're curious, that's a great place to get charts. And what I found is that when you're learning astrology, there's so much, and you need to narrow the focus a little bit so you don't get overwhelmed and have it all become gibberish. So I heard a talk about the progress chart, and she said the main thing that she looks at in the progress chart is the sun and the moon. Period. The personal planets are going to move and change, Mercury and Venus. The outer, slower planets, you'll see very little movement. But it can sometimes help. If something's not making sense, the progress chart can help us sometimes make sense out of, oh, well, that's because your moon is now sitting in this and your sun is now sitting in this. What does that do for you? So it's a whole other place to go with astrology. And if it sounds like, woo, you're splitting my brain, don't worry about it. But thanks for the question. It was a really good question. And those charts are available at astro.com.
Well, thanks for looking that up, Bright Hawk. I'm sure she really appreciates that. Angie says, is it going to be a little bit better? No. Angie, I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna say, Angie, I hope it's okay that I say that you have Scorpio placements. But your astrology chart, no. It's going to be intense, honey. It's going to be a lot of emotional stuff, a lot of transformation and change. But I've walked you through it before, and I'm telling you now, you're going to be okay, but it's a process. Okay. Um, and, could be some old stuff coming up, some stuff you thought you let go of, especially things for you could be, rather intense. They could be rather overwhelming for you because I'm pretty sure you have almost a stellium in Scorpio, or maybe just 2 or 3, something like that. And this Mercury retrograde is going on in your chart, um, on top of those placements, which happen to be kind of a lot of your identity. So you're probably going to be going through some big spiritual awakenings according to your chart, Angie. And it's going to be triggering your T square. Absolutely. So yeah, it's a lot of and especially around like relationships and things like that, Angie, particularly maybe with the law or with higher learning. I'm sure some things are being revealed that could be difficult for you, but I'm going to just say that it's mostly happening up in your ninth house, which is like spiritual awakenings, the law. Um, it could also have something to do with like um higher learning, spiritual awakenings, Angie. All of those kinds of things are what's coming your way this month. So, hang in there, Angie. You got this. Okay? Because you have come through so much. I know that you're going to come through this too. Okay? Just be ready to change. Try to have an open mind. Maybe you want to join us at Mystics Academy, where, we're going to be doing some shadow work this month. Especially, yeah, see, Angie, that's why I said old stuff. Yeah, missing John a lot. Yeah, I'm not really surprised to hear that, Angie. Because I feel like Mercury retrogrades sometimes bring up stuff from the past anyway. And so it's probably going to bring up like old shadow things that we thought we worked through. I know it has for me so far, and I'm a Scorpio rising, Angie. So remember, I totally get it. And it's like bringing up old stuff that you're like, gosh, I thought I worked through this, right? It's actually already started, Angie. It already started. So you're probably going to be on a little bit of a roller coaster this week. Sunday could be very emotionally intense. There could be a lot of trip ups this week, sort of on and off, on and off. I think with the void moon's going to end up kind of sort of turning it on and off. The academy already started, Angie. You can see it right there. See that link here? I'll put it in the link. Yeah, and so what happens is there's 3 different tiers. If the readings tier is just like you get a reading and you can attend the readings party at the end of the month. And you can join now, Angie. You can join anytime. And then what happens is there's also events. I just released all the days. So the readings party for all tiers, so all paid members have access to the readings party on the 28th at 5 p.m. So that means at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Sorry, Mountain time. So that's like 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's on the 28th. That's the readings party. So that's where everybody gets to there's the link, Angie, so you should be able to just look up and see it there. Hopefully it'll come through for you. I hope I did that right. Anyway, it's okay, let me just put that link again in case it's not right, Bright Hawk. So, and I see that someone asked a question, but let me just finish real quick. So there's the readings tier, which you save $25 on any reading every month. Plus, you get to attend a readings party where everybody in attendance gets at least a little mini read in Zoom. This time we had I think like a half dozen of us, and each person got at least like a 15-minute mediumship reading from me and a tarot card pool with Cheryl. Okay. And this month, the theme is uh, shadow work. Okay. So we'll have a readings party on the 28th. We have a meditation work group where we'll do some deep inner work with one of the meditations that Brighthawk and I made. We will do a practice group where we'll practice readings with each other. Now you have to be, so the readings tier, that's all you get. Then the next tier up, which is $37, is called the novice mystic, the novice mystic. And the novice mystic, every month you get a meditation group where we all come together and do a meditation and talk about the topic, whatever it is. So we'll be healing grief this month, Angie, because that's shadow work. And then we'll also the practice group where we can practice groups with each other. And if you're like, well, I'm not sure if I'm ready to do readings for people, that's okay. Come in and be somebody that we can practice on. Okay. Be a safe person for us to practice on. And then November 24th is a kids event. So if you happen to have kids or families that you want to learn witchcraft, that will be available. So there's another tier called the Mystical Families or the Kids tier. And that's where kids can join up. Everybody in the Novice Mystics tier and the family tier gets a video, an hour-long video teaching about whatever the month's topic is. And for people in the family group, you'll get a PDF for your kids to add to their grimoire, which is it's like a book of magic. Okay. So, oh, and if you're a novice mystic, you also save $50 on your coaching package every month. Okay. So it makes coaching super affordable. This is an integrated thing. I'm building it this year. This year's prices will probably go up next year because by then I'll have a whole year's worth of videos to build on that will make it more valuable, if that makes sense. So if you're supporting me during this year, you get like sort of locked in cheap prices. Okay. Um, the autodidact said, let's go back to the first message. Sun, moon in Pisces. Okay. Double Pisces. Libra rising. I'm like closing my eyes to like imagine your chart. Okay. Libra rising. Okay. Pluto in Scorpio. Okay. That's your generation. The lyrics, Are We Having Fun Yet? Plays my head when we talk about Scorpio transits. The autodidact, that's hilarious. That's actually really funny. Okay. Anyway, autodidact said, but it feels like my Mercury in Aries has finally turned into a supportive aspect of my chart over the last 18 years. Well, that's beautiful.
Yes.
And I wonder about your progressed Mercury, autodidact. So that's what I was talking about in the recording that I released yesterday about astrology. I talked about the sort of progressed chart, which is based on your age, right? Okay. But in the last 18 months, it sounds like you've made some major changes. That's probably the Saturn going into Aries and forward and back and forth. All this back and forth, this Saturn is going to change the way you do things, right? It's foundational. It's going to change the way you see things because of Neptune been traveling with it. It's going to change you. Like, I think all transits change us to some degree, but how they change us, I guess, is different.
So I just want to say the other thing that I noticed that jumped out at me is you have Sun, Moon, Pisces. And remember, everything that happened in the eclipse season, which happened in Pisces and Virgo, it's like wow, 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 wow. So the South Node, which we consider our past lives, past relations, our past, we consider the South Node. The North Node, future, destiny, fate, where we're headed. So the North Node is in Pisces right now. So that's also probably rang the bell for you. Of course, Saturn moved through Pisces all the way, then stepped into Aries, and now it has retrograded back along with Neptune. They're still traveling together, and they're back in Pisces. So, yes, now is the time to be asking about your dreams because Neptune is there to help make our dreams come true and help us realize our dreams. But remember, when Neptune is retrograde, guess who has a Neptune in retrograde? Donald Trump. It's delusion. It's all, you couldn't recognize truth if it shook your hand. It can be so illusory. And so it's no surprise that that particular person doesn't have a relationship with the truth because they are so lost in the world of illusion when Neptune is retrograde. And it's conjunct his sun. That's why we've looked at it really closely.
No, the Neptune's not. I don't think Neptune is. Uranus is.
Oh, sorry, you're right. You've looked at it closer than I have.
That's what makes him unprecedented. Okay, so and every time somebody says that, I'm like, that's because his Uranus is retrograde, is Uranus and Sun are conjunct. But the Neptune retrograde, if you happen to be born with Neptune retrograde, I've seen it expressed two ways. Of course, in the shadow way, remember what I was explaining earlier is that if you have some shadow parts of you that are being expressed, they're either going to come through the chart or they're going to block some aspect of your chart. Okay. And usually it's some sort of like protective behavior or something, like to keep from vulnerability or something like that. And so anyway, so when Neptune is retrograde, if it's expressed through shadow, it could be like falling for controversies or conspiracy theories that are not based in truth and having a hard time figuring out what the difference is. Now, I've seen some people express it in a more naive type of way. Most of the time, they're usually aware of it. It doesn't mean that they always agree, like that they always are, in conspiracy theories and things like that. It would more mean like they are sometimes just kind of naive. They're kind of like they don't necessarily and they'll usually be, I'll say, "Are you naive?" And they'll be like, "Oh my god. Is that in my chart?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And then like, "I just thought I was stupid." And I'm like, "No, you are not stupid. It's just that I think sometimes with Neptune retrograde is that you just don't always recognize that someone is lying, or that someone could be stretching the truth or changing the truth. And I think that's a little different than being stupid. So I've had people have it also come through that way. Okay. And so sometimes naivety, a little bit of a naive sort of persona that you deal with, I think that could probably also happen. I think that's also happening with people born in these last few years. I'm wondering if the people with born with Neptune and Pisces, I'm wondering if they're going to be a little bit more on the naive side. I'm just curious. Like I'm like, is that generation going to be a little bit on the naive side? Maybe because they grew up with less trauma or something. I mean, it's very possible. The autodidact said, in my opinion, Neptune for Piscean placements, shenanigans can increase inattentiveness. Yes, like a dreamy sort of nature, yeah, and takes away motivation to reflect and course correct. Uh-huh. And it takes more effort to ground and self-reflect. That is probably true. Like sort of a dreamy. Yeah, I coached someone that has Neptune retrograde, and she tends to be kind of dreamy. She feels like she's too dreamy. She feels like she is so dreamy that she's making stuff up, and she has a hard time telling what's quote unquote real and what's not. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's kind of like that naive energy too, right? I totally agree with you, autodidact. Yeah, absolutely. And so it really depends on your Neptune placement. I have no idea what just happened to Bright Hawk. She just disappeared on the entire app. But it depends on what sign it's in, what aspects it's in, and is it retrograde? Okay. So I think welcome back. Yeah, absolutely. It's okay. I've taken myself out. So yeah, so Neptune, your Neptune placement is very much about like dreams, it's about your vision forward, it's about your psychic abilities, it's about your vision if you're capable of seeing vision. The other thing I've noticed that I've been really paying attention with my astrology clients, and I've been talking to them, is that some people born with Neptune in Scorpio, and now it's completely direct, and it's not badly aspected or anything like that. It's not like in an opposition or anything, but it seems that people that have that Neptune placement, and I think that they were born around 1960 to 67 or something I was looking at. And so anyway, if they, or I guess it would be like 59 maybe. It was okay, so it's in the early 60s. Those people that were born during that time, they sometimes have a hard time visioning it beyond, like they can see their future in an emotional depth type of way, but they don't see the details. So they'll see the root of it. So they'll be like, I can see myself, like they'll have a hard time seeing the whole thing. Like I can talk about it. I can say, oh, I could fly to Costa Rica and live in a house and do blah 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 blah. Okay. And I have Neptune in Sagittarius. So I don't struggle with this. Okay. And my Neptune is even opposite my Mars. Sometimes they're opposite each other. Okay. But if Neptune is in Sagittarius, it has been, I don't know if the generation has just maybe not survived, maybe has survived some sort of trauma that has kept them from dreaming. They won't be able to see the details, but they will be able to get in touch with the deep emotional things that they need or want or desire. Okay. So they'll see, oh, I need a warmer place to live, or I need more comfort, or I need more community or more connections or something like that. But they won't see exactly how to get there. They won't see the details outside of it. And that just seems to be Neptune and Scorpio. I don't know if it's the generation um or what, but I mean, most of the time Neptune is a generational planet, and it makes me think about the depths of Scorpio, and I almost wonder if it's because the Neptune is so deep, right? And so when you think about Neptune, it's the god of the ocean, and so it's way deep down, and it's almost like they're so deep in the ocean they can't see the surfboards. They can't see the waves. They can't see the land on the horizon. They're way down in the depths of the ocean. And that's how I think of Neptune in Scorpio for people that were born with Neptune in Scorpio. It's not in its detriment. It's not in its fault. I've looked. I double checked myself. It is not. It's just kind of a thing, and I wonder if there's anyone else out there born around that time. So if you look where your Neptune is, it kind of looks like a three-pronged fork. It could be sometimes blue or green. And look and see what sign it's in. And it would be interesting if you identify with what I just described. But people with Neptune and Scorpio, typically, so far, the people that I have done readings with that have that placement, they all seem to have that in common. So it's an interesting thing. So I've tried to kind of look it up, but there's not a whole lot of information about it actually. So it's a level of intensity. There is some implication in some articles out there that kind of say what I'm saying, close, but yeah. So maybe I'll do some more research on it before I write about it. But it is something definitely I've been kind of watching. So it's an interesting placement, right? So, my friends, I hope you have enjoyed. Like I said, you're welcome every week to come and share your chart, ask questions about your chart, um, ask us questions about the astrology, or ask us questions about anything related to the astrology. I will be live tomorrow, I believe, for Cosmic Wisdom. Sorry I wasn't available last week, but Mercury retrograde, Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio rising. That means Scorpio runs my health. Okay. So whatever runs your first house, whatever your rising is, that's your health. That's your vitality. So, okay. So, so I was having some health things last week.
Well, thank you so much for listening. We hope this has been valuable. We really appreciate you. You know what's really valuable is I really appreciate those of you who put the hearts and the thumbs up and the shares and the likes. That really helps. We hope that we can continue to grow our audience with Rainbow Soulstrology. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.